So, hello, Jan Malmgren.
Hi, Fredrik.
Yeah.
How are you?
Oh, it's fine. So, and you're ready for keeping us busy with talking a little bit about Veberöd today.
Yeah, I will try to do that and then entertain you a bit what small villages can do in this smart city or society environment.
And I must mention that I met you for the first time. It was, I think, 2 months ago or something like that, when you presented in a seminar in Denmark. I listened into your presentation about your smart city, like the Veberöd smart city, and I actually asked you at that event that, oh well, maybe you could like come and visit us in the summer course and tell us about what you told me today. So that is sort of the backstory from why you're here today. So I was very inspired by all the projects that you were doing in Veberöd. So I think it's a really good source of inspiration.
Thank you. We're really happy to spread the word, of course, and we're really small and we're a small village, but we've done a few fun things.
Yeah. But small isn't bad. So, I mean, in many ways, small is good.
Small is good.
Yeah. So, but you have a presentation to share. I think you need to share it again.
Just a moment.
Yeah. And those of you that are now following online, I will monitor the Discord server. So please ask questions firsthand in Discord, and I will forward these questions to John while this session lasts. So let's start with the stream.
Okay, cool. You see the screen, right?
Yes, we do.
Cool. All right. Welcome to Smarta byar or Smart Villages. We are a research village for what is sustainable society. And this started way past ago, and Veberöd is a very small village, about 5,000 citizens. And very interesting about Veberöd is that we're now going into a new phase to increase to 8,000 citizens until 2040. And the question is now how to do this sustainable. And since we do this in real world, this is really connected to what we do. But Veberöd looks like this, really cozy, a lot of nature, a lot of animals. And for doing this, we have a small platform called Veberöd.nu, which is a really simple website that started by my son. And my son is Tim. He was 11 years old in this picture, and the newspapers wrote a lot about him. And he started a website looks like this. It's a normal website with calendars and business and everything you can think about just locally. And this has a lot of companies that puts ads on it and makes this turn around. So we have about 200 companies and communities connected to this, all locally. The platforms has about 20,000 visitors a month. The income, 10% of that goes to local projects for youngsters. And we have 2 apps, and we have mainly citizen dialogue, and we like local democracy, and we have corporations, and now also smart villages. And this started 2008. Right. To this, we have employed a lot of youngsters. Youngsters who write articles about what happens. So they learn about society and get paid for this. And they help us out to spread the word. So Smarta byar, that made it possible with this platform, because we didn't really realize what we were doing. This is a communication platform. So after now 14 years or something, this is really beneficial for us deploying Smarta byar project.
So it didn't start at all as an IT project, I understand. So
no, this is just a youngsters. That my son was 11, so he's he inspired me to quit my job, actually.
Okay.
So I worked with full-time for this for 3-4 years now. And youngsters and my son really inspired me that look at the important stuff in society. So back to the IT. I'm a technician. I worked a lot of with building production platform with encryption and stuff like that, and build PLC and computers and stuff. So I thought, how can we connect technology to the rural areas? How can this be beneficial? And everybody has heard about smart cities. How about smart villages? Are the needs the same or are they different? And I think there was a lack in the discussion at the time when smart cities came up. So we started up with an IoT project, and as everybody possibly know, IoT is a sensor where you have a battery where it can have about 10 years of capacity, sends that to an antenna, and you can use it for phones or laptops or whatever. And that made it possible for us to put the first gateway into our little village. And this is quite a funny story because we got a cooperation with Lund, the municipality of Lund, and a part of that called Future by Lund, which is the innovation platform for Lund. And they said, okay, you can do what we do in Lund, because they had 3 gateways there. And you can have 1 gateway, but you need the approval of making a big place, a high place to place the gateway, and you need authorities and and you just come back when you have that. And that took us 2 hours, because for that moment we used Veberd Hub, the platform, the communication platform, and they took us just 2 hours, and people said, hi, you can use ours, Ethernet and stuff like that. So it's really good for us to use the network locally, very flexible and fast. And at that point, we didn't know a lot about what IT could be used for. So we went to a farmer, her name is Anna, and on the picture here, and asked what could this project be used for. And she told me a story where her cows went out on the road in the middle of the night of midsummer because of the water pump from the water bin was stopped, and they needed to stop the party and dress to boots and stuff and chasing cows and fill out the water. Mm-hmm. And she said, couldn't you measure that water bin for us so it can get an alarm when it doesn't work? It was solar power. Why not? It sounds a perfect way. So we did that with a company called SenseFarm. We reconstructed this sensor, and this is the water bin you see in front of you. And we made a hardware measuring water 5 centimeters down beneath the surface and also to the bottom. So we had 2 sensors level of detection. And in the next midsummer, at a little bit after 7 o'clock, the first alarm got through, and this is authentic pictures. And instead of midnight, we can send an SMS automatically to the farmer, say how now the bin is not working anymore. And this was the first project where we started to understand what this could mean. This is the technical stuff. If you look at the upper green line, this is the 5 centimeters beneath the surface alarm, and the blue line is the bottom alarm, which is a real alarm. This is empty bin.
Okay.
So we got 25 alarms in 9 weeks, and basically saved cows from dehydration.
But just let me ask one question here. That a bit before, like, this is really interesting because then it means that before they started measuring it, you could probably think that this was the trend even before. So they were actually out of water from time to time, these cows.
Yes. And we got more information, as you see. We got information when the herd came for drinking.
Yeah.
As well. and also saving, because otherwise the farmer has to go out and visit the place every day or every second day or once a week to check if it was water in it. Now it came within minutes. So this was really beneficial, and this was the opening for smart villages as a proof of concept. Even at Almedalen, they talked about this, like QH, water bins for cows, and the cows were on the pictures.
So what kind of cost is it per like installation for a farmer to do this kind of project? Like
well, the sensor is about, I don't know, 3,000-4,000 kroners.
Yeah.
And this is a Sense Farm product, so you pay for a month for this. This is an experiment, so we did it for free. But it's about that. But you don't have to put power or Ethernet or anything like that. It's really easy to put a sensor out in middle of nowhere, basically. Okay, so the next step was going to Björkhaga, which makes trees. They farm about 500 to 1,000 trees a week, delivering to cities or new areas of households and stuff like that. And we had a new area of households in Veberöd, and we connected one of the trees out there. And it's measuring pressure actually down 40 centimeters down in the soil. And basically the trees are telling us when they need water. And the trees needs about 3 years to be mature enough to cope by themselves. So they are really sensitive in this time. So basically we got smart trees in the village telling them when we needed water. To this as well, we learned more than we anticipated from the start, because it was a really big drought in 2018. And we got a new sensor, and after 14 days of raining, we thought it didn't work. But so we was about to dig it up. And when we went out there, it started working again. And then we realized that the water took 14 days to go down the soil of 40 centimeters of raining.
Wow. Yeah.
So even the company who has this realized, wow, it takes this long time. So they changed the watering system to pre-water, right? So it was moist. Okay. The next was not an IT system. We like to fool around a bit with technical stuff and see what that could be beneficial. And we have a pharmacy in the village, and we try to send medicine with a drone. This is actually my mother. She's 91 years old on the picture, and we put medicine on the drone and sent it through the village and landed to her. And we put it out on this website of Veberöd and asked again the village, what do you like useful drones? Not annoying drones, but for a purpose. And we asked them, and 91% said, yes, we like those kind of drones. And that put information for us that the maturity of the village is that they like technology to be deployed when it's useful.
So that is really one of the strengths, I guess, with what you told earlier, that you have this small village, and that you already built this website and everything, that everyone is sort of already connected way before. So you are able to do things like deploying a drone over a large city might be like quite much more harder.
You have a lot of problems doing that, and even in a village, it's a problem because people engage a lot. Who is driving this drone? What is it doing, right? But if we tell the people around we're doing it for this and this purpose, they accept and like it. The next project is this. Looks a bit suspicious. This is a police from the municipality of Lund, and we have a bike manufacturer called Degavi. And what we did was to manufacture a narrowband sensor with an accelerometer to have when you move the bike, it show the position. So this is actually a test in Veberöd, where we have the police coming to my house in Veberöd, and we have two thieves coming, the CEO of the Gavi, and they took two bikes and hide them in the village. And after that, we made the police go find it with this technology, and they find it and arrest it, so to speak.
Yeah.
So this is a way of proof of concept, which is really interesting to do. And then after that, we went out to ask the village, can 5 people help us to test this technology? And I was one of them, of course, and I was drinking beer in the next village of Oktoberfest, when I got a message on my phone that my bicycle was moving. And I put out the location to the Facebooks and to the village and said, now it's on this street and now on that street, and also connecting the police to see how this kind of projects were going. And I just told the taxi going home, can you put me in this place instead? And there was the bike. So this is really authentic pictures when we got home and found the bike.
So, but you didn't find the thief, or?
No.
No.
No, that was not the goal in this.
No.
Technology is one thing, but we also like the local democracy. So a few years ago, we asked the village, what kind of companies do you like to have into the village? And we thought it was a Systembolaget, the alcohol store. But the absolute winner was a pharmacy. Okay, what should we do with this information? So we went out again and started cooperation with the company community, and we put out a digital signature. Can you sign if you like a company, a pharmacy here? And we had 500 digital signatures in 2 days. The third day, Nebel called me. He is a pharmacist, and 14 days with the people of the village, we got 1,701 signatures, and after 6 months, we have a pharmacy. So this is really bottom up. Get the will of the village, and then you have the ground to start companies and evolve. Then we have a community called Young Smart Villages, which are my kids who started this for other youngsters to use this platform to see what we can do. And there's my son and Lynn and Luca. Luca is also having a lot of environmental projects himself. He got the World WWF's Health Young Hero Health Award. And they developed this project together to measure the stream. This is Veberöd, and the blue line is Veberödsbäcken, the stream of Veberöd, very small, but still. And the goal for them was to measure the pollution coming in and going out. And this is like the older generation, putting the globe a bit worse for our kids. This is symbolic in this. And they discovered a lot of things in this. They actually used VRC with real water laboratories. And they came out that we are a nice minus village. We got in fertilizer coming in, and we have magnesium and zinc going out from water coming from cars, because you have the drainage from the village when it rains a lot and stuff like that. And with this information, we could put in water plants, suggest water plants, for some plants are actually taking up magnesium. And maybe we can make the village cleaning itself by itself without putting in energy. So that was the youngsters' project. This is the same stream, but this is a startup company called Vakita. They come from Lund as well, and the stone in the middle is actually a LoRa sensor. Underneath, you have a propeller and a battery and a lot of plug-in sensors, so they can measure up to, I don't know, 6 different kind of measurements like turbidity or pH or whatever in the water live. They use our platform to do this and deploy and test their product as well.
I think that I have seen that stone sensor before in your previous slides, and I do really like that, and also that it's like a sensor that is formed like something that already exists in the nature. You won't even see it. It won't disturb. It's not just yet another plastic box somewhere. So
exactly. Exactly. You can do that in cities, but not in the village, right?
Yeah.
This is another startup called IODIT. And they asked us if we can find a small farmer who who grows stuff. And what they did is a LoRa water valve. So you don't need, it's fully automatic and no wires attached or anything like that. It's just wireless water valve. And so they connect AI and weather and humidity and everything to drip water into the plants. So they also developed their product with the use of the users of the village. Veberöd, they have the water here, and they want to make Veberöd to Sweden's most sustainable village for drinking water. So what they have done is to put about 1,000 wireless water sensors. They measure temperature, flow, and pressure. And the project here is to mainly to have an AI deciding where the leaks are in the street. This is really interesting because you lose about 15-20% water in leakage.
Yeah.
So they also use Veberöd as a research place for sustainability in this. And also maybe you can, like electricity, stop water consumption, have different tariffs, different costs during the day. So not everybody fills the pool or water the grass at the same time.
Yeah, and that's interesting because there are, I mean, I've heard those numbers before, that the so large portion of all the drinking water is actually just leaking away. And that, I mean, it's really, when you think about it, why? Why should it be like that? So
yeah, water is really, we really need that, and water is so needed. It starts worse if not there.
yeah.
So people start really to realize the importance of water. And this is a really interesting picture. This is the village from above, but a heat map of the water consumption. So more red means more water consumption. And this picture also showed us the road for another project that I will talk about later. But it shows how you can show pictures of how the organism of a village really works. So we want to have aggregated data of water, not each household, because then we have problems with GDPR. But we can have blocks, like 30 houses, and that we are discussing with Veberöd to get information live in blocks. And with this, we can actually have projects like, what does it mean if you go from 15 minutes to 5 minutes of showering, stuff like that, and really use the village as a research village for water consumption. We do a lot of stuff. This is when Corona started in March. So it's about 2 years ago. This is a company, Topio, and they have a healthcare company in Sweden. So this is the CEO and a specialist doctor and a local doctor. And they tested Hololens 2 in Veberöd. This is actually the first time in Scandinavia when Hololens 2 was used. So the purpose of this was to show that virtual doctors can be used in small villages. So the project was that we have a patient and we have a nurse or a doctor going around the patient, and it builds a 3D model of everything, and the doctor could see this from a remote area, and he can draw a line or a circle or get information into the 3D world around the patient. And this makes it connected a specialist doctor directly. So this is a way to see if people can stay longer in villages, because elderly often think that they have to move into the cities to be near the hospitals when they get older. So this is a way to experiment. Can we do this for the rural areas as well? Smart lampposts. This was also a company called Atelier Lyktan. They make lamp in many different forms. And together with the Terrains and Sensitive and other companies, we asked the village again, can we do a test of smart lampposts? And it took us a week to get the permission because it was a private one. And we put up a 5 lampposts. And the purpose of this is to measure when cars come. They dim from like 20% up to 100%. So it gets a white light wave following the car. But it also detects the crossing from pedestrians coming. So it could lit up when a bicycle or a pedestrian coming around. So this is also a live project in Veberöd where we get the feedback of the citizens, and they really like it, and the product is even more developed.
What kind of sensors are there that measures the movement of?
This is a simple peer like you have someone here.
Yeah, so it's passive infrared.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that means that you could make the calculation of the speed because you have the how close the lampposts are.
Yeah.
But it's just to lit up at this moment. But those questions are coming up, and you can, for instance, have ideas like changing the color of the light. So if you have a pedestrian coming, you can lit up the crossing like red. Those ideas could be tested as well. So lampposts are a really interesting grid that not many people think about.
Yeah.
We actually got permission to use every single lamppost in Veberöd to put up LoRa sensors. So we have a mechanical grid, thousands of places in Veberöd to be able to do this.
But if people are looking at this and they might wonder, oh, I'm not living in Veberöd, I'm living in, well, any other municipality or town, how do they make this happen? Is it just ask around, or?
That's a really good question. Yeah. This is for inspiration, I would say, for municipalities, because this comes not from the villages. This is for testing to show what's possible. What does the citizens like? Often when you make products, you look for the monetary, the money. What can you make money on the product and do this? We like the bottom up.
Yeah.
What are the needs? And from that, products and services grow. So this is an inspiration for cities and municipalities and regions. And a few years ago, we got the idea of making a 3D model of our village. And many people asked, okay, why? Well, anyhow, we got some funds, and we did that with the University of Lund and Municipality of Lund and region of Skåne. And we started to make a 3D model. And the 3D model is made by making a lot of photos. And we make that with drones, and we fly with a drone 30 meters up and taking about 50,000 pictures of the village. And that can not be done without people getting curious what is going on.
Yeah.
And back to the platform, we inform what we're doing. And so people, oh, it's just John going around and flying and doing this. But with these pictures, we actually made a first 3D model like this. And this is a 2-year-old 3D model of Veberöd. This was the first model we did. And we think the 3D model can be used in communication in so many ways. So this started up many other projects. So we made a complete 3D model of the village. We took 50,000 pictures of 30 meters height. And we have 5 square kilometer big 3D model. But even so, we also put in sensors into this and made a digital twin. We measured temperatures and open gates and every different kind of measurements we could think about. And if we zoom in, this is the preschool in the foreground here, and you have called grind, which is a gate where it detects if the gate is open, and then the parent have got to close the gate, and then it sends a signal to the school, hey, you have an open gate. And this was inspiration how we can start to measure how a village work. We can have health, we can have traffic, we can have energy, anything we can actually measure. So that is the start for us to measure a lot of stuff. And the vision is to use AI to see connections.
Yeah. So I've gotten some questions here, Jan. So maybe I would like that what kind of pushback do you get from the officials is one question. So you have so many IoT projects. What's it like what does the officials from Veberöd, obviously they might be on board, but like the near municipalities, Lund and those things.
Well, the municipality is big, of course. They employ 10,700 people, and the politicians and the management, they really like what we do. But it's a big organization, of course. But we managed to get a lot on board with the project. Especially, I have to mention Future by Lund, which is the innovation platform for Lund, and they really like what we can do and very fast and flexible. So we got a big help from them. But we have obstacles, of course, and we have to work around it or get help.
Yeah. One other question. Maybe you have more slides you want to show us.
I can talk forever, but
yeah, but I'll bring in some questions and then let's see if we get even more. So, but one question is, but how do you deal with the security aspects when you're working with the like? One thing is like, how do you deal with the security aspects? And also one add-on question is, have you had any breaches that you know of?
Okay, first of all, it depends on what you mean by security. For instance, the 3D model, when you take pictures with a drone, you get people, right? But making the 3D model, we remove everything that moves, cars, people, everything. You have to sit still for 25 minutes to be on the screen.
Yeah.
So that is one security angle we have to consider, and we ask people if they want to be involved. Of course, then we get approval, but we don't put out at the moment personal information. We don't show that officially. We show temperature in this place and open gates and stuff like that. So it's really important that you consider GDPR and stuff like that, of course.
Yeah. But in terms of like the information that you sort of, I guess that much of this information, as you talk about like a research village, is made to be open as well. So
yeah, we like an open, transparent way, and we have servers in Lund, of course, and we do that with companies here and with the municipality. But we don't store secure information into it. Not at the moment, maybe later, but when we get health, for instance. And if we get information, we anonymize it, of course.
Yeah.
But this is a really topic that has to be heightened.
I guess that like one of the things that might be like, just by looking at all the projects, I mean, like water consumption. I guess that like being able to get hold of that data and it gets in the wrong person's hand, you might be able to track like well, if there is someone home, or like how many people are living at some place, and then
that is why we get aggregated data from Veberöd.
Okay.
We can't see every household. We see a group of households. So this is also a connection with lawyers and the company, of course, and we need to work around it, and so we can't pinpoint people, like you say, if someone is home or not.
One other question. So, how important do you think the infrastructure is to how to how good the progress has been? Would this have been like possible without the local website veberöd.nu?
Possible, everything is possible, I would say, but we put 14 years into this, and it was really beneficial. So it takes a long time to get engagement in the village to do this. That is one infrastructure. The other infrastructure is, for instance, Ethernet or fiber. And in that aspect, we have had fiber for a long time because of the companies here. I live in the forest and have fiber for 12 years. So we are a little bit more engaged, I would say. It's a very engaged village.
Yeah. And there are some questions about both about smart cars and autonomous driving, and if you have like work. So have you done any projects in Veberöd in that area?
Sure.
Yeah.
Shall I continue with my slides?
Yeah, sure. Go.
I have a lot. You just say when I have a. Oh, I talked for half an hour. Wow. We have a hub, a small place where we have different companies and universities as well. And the hub is just a place where we try to do stuff like a Fab Lab, where we 3D print stuff. And we think about teleporting 3D print. So there are new business models of designing stuff and uploading it and then download it in a different area and then 3D printed locally, so we don't have distribution, we don't ship it. So this is kind of teleporting, I would say. And for instance, we use local materials. At the right here, we have clay. We have 3D printed clay. So we test a lot of the local materials here with a very small Fab Lab here. And I don't know if you know what a Fab Lab is. A fabrication laboratory is coming from MIT. It's a setup of machines like sewing machines, 3D printers, and CNC, and every kind of stuff you use. And for this, it also has evolved to be a Fab City. Fab Labs, there are 2,000 Fab Labs in the world today, so there are many places to teleport stuff. And Fab City is continuing development of this, how to make a city sustainable. This is about local production and global cooperation. So we had 41 cities like Barcelona, Detroit, and Cambridge, and whatever in the world. And Veberöd actually was elected to be the first in Nordic. So we're now a Fab City as well. And that has connected us globally. How can a small village be part of this? Mm-hmm. There you have the Fab Labs all over the world. And they also, we are with a group here, which called a Fab City OS, and it's an operating system where I can be a Yucatan, a designer there, make 2% of the product, and I can make a material passport, and you can download it, and I get like 2% of the payment. And this is a way to cooperate globally and produce locally. And this is a really good way to be able to work in villages as well and be part of the global and not ship all over the world, because that contaminates a lot. This is a product I think you like, because this is our student. We have students from Kristianstad. Yeah. This is one example. They came out here to make an accelerator of Do Swings Swing. So they make a LoRa sensor, and if it swings, it detects it swinging, and they learn programming and hardware, and we can actually see how much the playground is used. Mobility, you were talking about that. 15-minute cities are in Paris and starting to grow. And we see that why a village? We have benefits that not cities has and the other way around. But we have something called village feeling where we help each other more, we know each other more, and can we actually export that into cities? So we have different kind of traffic project as well. IoT project for traffic flow with these companies. We actually asked the village, where are the streets there where they drive the fastest? Where are they complaining? And with that information, we got a place here at a private house. Hey, you can put the radar on my house and you can have an Ethernet cable from me, no problem. So we put up this in 1 week. So this is the signal from the radar where we can see if cars are coming in what direction and what speed. And from that, we use AI in Veberd to count the cars, how many cars, the speed, everything around it. So we actually have live information about the traffic there. In this, we are growing from 5,000 people into 8,000 people, and the traffic will grow as well. So this is the number per day driving on the streets. So we took that as an input. What are the problems coming if we increase the traffic with 50%? Are there more parking places? Can we use autonomous pods? More bikes? This is quite complex and very, very interesting. So we actually started a cooperation with Red Hat and Boston University. Red Hat is putting a man in 2 years for making a research platform in open source and simulating traffic. Boston University, sorry, has a 2-year project that is doing that project in Veberöd, where they want to simulate the traffic. And we give them data like video, so they actually see how the traffic is moving around. And we can lift questions like, this is a new area. How will that affect the school traffic, everything around it? That is a really interesting way you can actually go into 3D later on. Our goal is to, going back, to get in the buses. When the bus is going in the village, you can actually see in the 3D models, you actually get a sim city, if you like, a 3D model, a digital twin. So we have 2 universities today that has a copy of the digital twin of Veberöd. So when the researchers is doing stuff in Veberöd, they actually see it in Boston.
Yeah, but I get, have you any when you're talking about buses, then like people waiting in a bus stop? So that could also be an interesting thing. So you could have dynamic routes.
Yeah, what we see the buses where they are, and we are trying to get information of the statistics, because there are statistics how many people are entering on that stop. But that comes on ahead. But so many questions and possibilities are risen by just doing this. Another way is to visualize, vote, and build, which we do with the municipality of Lund. And what we mean by that is when you have a detailed plan how a village should be, you have it in Word. We're going to have 4 stories in wood or balconies or whatever. And if you tell that to 100 people have 100 different opinions how that looks like. So visualization is really important for us. For instance, this is going to be built, and one aspect is that people are afraid of high buildings, of course, This is an old school that is now no more. This is demolished. But if we put in now 4 stores, people can actually walk around and look from their garden, see if they have insights from that balconies. So this is a way to have less fear of what is going to happen, and also to inspire, of course, and everybody sees in a more easy way what is going to be done. This is a really cool project, I think, because this is youngsters, landscapes architects locally here, where they are working with wetlands, designs of wetlands and playgrounds. So they actually use, this is incoming water from south, and we have a lot of flooding somewhere when it's a lot of rain. And they worked for a half year now, and this is one of the inputs. We use kids from schools that write and make drawings of what they want for a playground. So in maybe a half year, we have a design in 3D as well, how to make a playground together with water. So this is a way to have the local democracy with youngsters and kids as well. I think that is really cool to be part of developing your own village. Social sustainability.
I got a question, Jan, from before about the digital twin. So a very concrete question. Do you work together with Virtuella Göteborg?
No.
No. Short answer.
Yeah, we have a cooperation with Smart Visualizer. And with Smart Visualizer, we have a live 3D model of it, but it's a program today, is built by Unity. But now we started cooperation with Smart Visualizer, where we can have a web browser looking into this. And we can actually simulate to get more water, not increasing the water level, but with X cubic meter on a place, and see how it takes, what waste does it go. All of that we can use this, and this is really interesting to also cooperate with teams and build new houses and build your own village, so to speak. Social sustainability is something that is fluffy, I would say, and not easy to measure. But for us, it's really important how to make a prosperous society, village. Often when you measure sustainability, you have economy, ecology, and social. And economy is really easy. You have, for instance, when you ask sustainability in mobility, you measure time, money, what can you save? But not if you are more happy or less alone. Let's say you have a bus with 40 people. Everybody is looking at their phones or very alone, right? But if you have an autonomous pod, which we are discussing in simulating with Boston University, you get to know each other a lot more if you're poor people. So this is aspects also that we would like to rise. And I go back to this heat map. This is inspiring for us because one vision of a project is to make a happy app. For instance, if now we have GDPR, but we ask the people, do you want to contribute in this? And they get a notification, how happy are you? And I say a happy face. And you can actually build a geographic happy heat map, like the picture you see. And with that, you can use AI. And if you combine that with water consumption and happiness or loneliness, then you can see, are you more healthy or less lonely using more water? And you can start to ask those odd questions if you start to measure a lot. And that is why we want to build up a research facility with a lot of sensors like scent or noise or stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting question. So how is water related to happiness? But I guess there are correlations. So.
Yeah, we can't judge because AI is, I think, used a bit like Hallelujah. I have a product, and then I use AI to prove it right. But shit in, shit out. So if we have a lot of researchers from universities look at the organism of a village, if you put in something, what does that happen? Are they going to be more happy or less happy? So as an ending on this, we have come to the conclusion maybe there's a change of society in this with the pandemic, that people also start to realize stuff. Digitalization reduces distances and strengthens rural areas. That means that villages no longer need to grow to cities, which is the default, right? We just grow them, and then you get to solve the problems around growing villages. Maybe we should just make a new village where people know each other. And another part is that since cities can be said to consist of villages, maybe our research can help cities to have more village feeling. And this is something that also had risen interest in EU and other cities. Can we make small communities within the cities who are more resilient and more happy? That's it. Thank you.
Okay. So I got some one question that that was asking about if you've tried the Unreal Engine for visualization. So when you were talking about the digital twins.
No, I haven't. We work with the VR department in Lund University, and they use Unity because we like the game engine, and you can make a game out of it. You can do a lot of stuff with this, and the fantasy imaginations are more open, I think.
Yeah. And also a specific question about the autonomous pods. So are you planning to run them on the official road network, or would you need to build a separate infrastructure?
This is a long-term project, of course, and for us, they are discussing a lot of parking places in the center of the village because we have moved the railway. We don't have a railway, but the planning ahead, and we are going to have bus terminals instead. But that means that we go down to the village, like 3 kilometers, we drive, and we put cars in the village center, right? And 500 cars in the village center is not village feeling for me, right? So maybe we can use autonomous pods. We use AI apps. I want to be in Malmo at that time, and you get an answer back that the pod is getting you in this time, and everything is planned, right? And you don't need a car. Maybe we can stop having cars or minimize them. So that is also why we want to make a matrix of sensors of noise and gas. We want to deploy hundreds of sensors and make a heat map live of gas. And we can actually program what gas we are looking for. So we can even send out coffee scent. Where are coffee in the village moving?
Yeah. Okay, so there are a lot of interesting possibilities for sure. So, yeah.
That is why we want to work with universities and companies that are for open source and for transparency, because many people see a lot of ideas here that they want to have and earn a lot of money on, but it has really had to come from bottom up.
Yeah. And there is actually one interesting question here but would you need to have harsher control over the communities, smart roles that build up the city? I'm not sure exactly what he means, but well, you might have a reflection on that question.
If I understand the question right, if we can make paths or roads that are for this?
Yeah, it might be out of context now when I say it, but like I interpret this question. You might want to fill in the Discord, but like, do we need to have harsher control over the communities that build up the city? So, I mean, yeah,
I would say that mostly when you develop villages, they think of city development.
Yeah.
And that is not the same, actually. it's easy to make a copy paste of a city and make a village into a city. And when that thought comes up, maybe villages want to work in different ways, because we live in the village for near nature and stuff like that for a reason. We have different needs. So in this, with the 3D model with Boston University, we can actually go into the 3D world and move houses. We can make new roads. We can broaden the pavement or whatever we would like and play around and see how that works. And that is why it's important to have the input of the real traffic and then go to simulation mode. What can this be done? So we invite universities all around the world to do this. And that is why we have open source program.
Yes, and I think that you have like some reflections. Like, I mean, when what you have shown here is that like it's a large area of different projects. That's why it's so fun. I think that like Veberöd is really really good example, and I do really like that you're showcasing everything you do, and you seem to do a lot. And that's super fun. So
we do not big projects. We do proof of concepts, of course, because otherwise we can't do this. But it's really necessary to inspire people. What can be done?
Yeah, and then I mean the mean denominator. The denominator is like that. The IoT should be something that makes the society better.
IoT is more important than I realized from the start. I'm a technician, I like that, but from the start when I got the question, I thought, okay, the coffee machine and the milk in the fridge and those normal questions. But after a while, wow, those possibilities are a lot more than I realized from the start. So that is why we make proof of concepts. I can track my kids or my dog in the 3D model. I have bank ID to log in, so I only see them, not everybody else. So there are so many aspects to do this.
Yeah, and also that, I mean, a lot of things that we didn't know before. I mean, when you mentioned this, that you get new insights of, okay, we have a problem. We don't want the cows to be running out of water and running on the roads. So that was like, okay, let's try to solve that. But then you get all these new insights when you have the data. And the same thing with the trees, that, okay, it has rained a lot, but it's still dry in the and I think that is also super interesting. So,
well, we got a new, like we're going to beta test a 3D fault monitoring.
Yeah.
Which means that people can actually go out with their mobile phone and take a picture of the hole in the street. Up pops the picture in the right position in the 3D model. And with that, you get visualization and transparency of all the problems, the faults in the village. And that could be connected to the municipality and the technical department that going, hey, okay, we noticed this. We're going to do that in 3 weeks. So you have a countdown on the hole when it's going to be fixed, for instance. So this is a new way of communicating.
Yeah. And also I get some comments like also that, but it's, I would say that IoT, I mean, also people are saying that, but the perception of IoT is that, well, you make something smart. You have it, like, as you mentioned, you have your coffee machine and now it's connected and then it's smart and then it's IoT. And per definition, yeah, well, it's IoT, yes. But what's it really about is like the technology is, well, it's important and it's really something that needs to be there. But it's actually not the technology that changes things. It's the insights on how to make things better.
Insights, the change of habits. Habits are so difficult to change, and we really need to do that to be more environmental friendly, right? So you can track the post, the garbage cart, when the post in your lid, in your box, and you can just imagine what to do, and you can experiment to do that.
Yeah. I've actually, my mailbox is connected, but and it's quite nice. Especially nowadays when the post doesn't arrive every day anymore. So now it's like even days and odd days and not the same every week. And well, you know, so So one question that was actually about potholes. Do you have any projects about like is that automatically reported by some system or?
No, we haven't done that yet automatically, but we're discussing with companies to do that. We're discussing to use AI on garbage trucks, for instance. They drive either way,
Yeah.
and they can have that. So if you do the same routes and then you get an update of the road, the damage of the road, and if you can see for 3 years ahead, you can see it deteriorating lines or potholes or whatever, and you can get a head up. Now it's time to do new lines. Or and you can also have, for instance, go and look for water. Where are water left on the streets of the rain? So, oh, I can do that, and I can do that.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah. So I think we need to end this. We've been on for 1 hour, and there is a time schedule in the other end that we need to keep track of. So I will forward any additional questions by email, or maybe you are able to join the Discord server and take some questions there.
Yeah.
But for now, I do thank you so much, Jan, for joining in. This was really good to get an insight on what is happening in the center of Scania.
Thank you, Fredrik. It's really my pleasure.
Yeah. So goodbye.
Take care. Bye-bye.